Love Island USA Season 6, Episode 8 and 9 aired in the UK on ITV2 on the 13th and 14th of August. I watched the first few episodes on the ITV media player, but somebody told me in work last night that it's actually on ITV2 at 10 PM. So if you're interested in watching it, you can probably download it all at once somewhere, or you can catch up on the ITV media player. In episode 8, Rob was paired up with Leah and a new bombshell, Andrea, came in, and he was absolutely emotionally gaslighting the shit out of Leah. And she's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, I didn't mean to make you cry. But she knew that she was being gaslit. But she was going along with it because she was trying to get him to like her. And it was so fucking pathetic to watch. So he had on the crocodile tears and he's like, oh, I just need a minute. And he went and literally hid in the pool. Like, he went in the pool and there was a bit that goes underneath and he went and hid under there and everybody was looking for him and I was like, is he a fucking child? Honestly, like, I would have been laughing in his face at that point. Now, as a 40-year-old woman, I very rarely fancy anybody that's on Love Island because they're in their 20s, but for some reason everybody thinks this guy's hot. I mean, I can see that he's not ugly, but I mean, is he good enough looking to put up with that shit? No fucking way. So at the end of the show, there had been 2 new bombshells, and any of the boys who wanted a chance to pair up with them had to stand up. So 3 of the guys stood up, and then he turned round, and he was so dramatic, and he turned round to Leah, and he was like, I'm sorry, and then stood up, right, and I was just like, what the fuck, right? And then the bombshell Andrea, she ended up picking Rob, and Leah was fucking raging, right, and she's like, fuck you, like mouthing fuck you to him. And he was shocked, do you know what I mean? He's like, oh, why is she doing that? Why is she treating her like that? Because you're a fucking dick. Honest to God, sometimes I wish there was a Love Island Scotland with older people because nobody would be putting up with any of this shit. So Janae was paired up with Connor and she was living life. She took him for a chat and she's like, oh, I just wanted to say I feel really lucky. I think you're such a man. I think you're so mature. And I'm really happy to have you here. And then he turned around and says, oh, now that Leah and Rob have split up, I really want to get to know Leah. So she was like playing it cool, right? And she's like, oh, no problem, like I would never try and stop you from getting to know anybody or whatever. Now, if there's one thing that I've learned over the years of my life, is that it's one thing to play it cool, but it's quite another to act as if you don't really care. Because guys and women, they don't think the same. So if you say to a man, I don't care, I'm not bothered, then he believes that you're not bothered. And then when you take a hissy fit and you go fucking mental, he's like that, what's up with her? She says that she wasn't bothered. Because they expect you to just be honest about their feelings, even though they don't fucking tell you anything about their feelings. You're supposed to be a mind reader. But anyway, she was playing it too cool in my opinion, and he was just like, right, I'm going to get to know Leah, she's obviously not bothered or whatever. So he was getting to know Leah and Janae was fucking raging, right? She's like, oh, I'm not jealous, like I don't really care. But then when he was away talking to Leah, she was sitting pure greeting. And I was like, why is she not just honest about her feelings? Absolutely baffles me. So at the end of episode 8, they had a kissing competition. And all the boys get blindfolded and the girls came up and kissed them and they gave them a score out of 10, as they do every year. So then when the girls were blindfolded, it was time for the last guy to go up. And this new bombshell came in. And he had to kiss them all. Now, I'm dyslexic, right? So when I was looking for these pictures and I was looking for Miguel, you could have gave me 100 guesses and I would not have figured out that that was how you spelt Miguel, right? But luckily I found it. So here he is. So he walks in and he's kissing everybody in the line, right? And they all know that it's not the guy who has been in the villa with them, who they were expecting. But he's from London, right? And he's quite sleazy in my opinion, and when he talks he does the licking his lips thing and I'm just like, no, you know. But like, I'm an older woman and I'm not interested in that sort of thing. However, they were fucking loving it. They were after him. I swear to God, I have never seen such a chase of desperation in my life. So in episode 9, Janae was well impressed. She was like, oh, who the fuck is that? Absolutely loving him, right? So they were all taking him for chats, and I mean like 90% of the girls in the house was taking him for a chat, and if they didn't take him for a chat, he was talking to them. Now the thing that got me about it is the fact that when he was chatting with all these girls, he wasn't just talking to them, right? He was really flirting with them. And I thought, surely to God, you can't fancy all these women. Surely it's possible for you to just sit and have a chat with somebody the opposite sex without giving it all the licking the lips and giving it all the chat up lines and all that. It's fucking disturbing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that he fancies every single lassie in that house. I mean, is he one of the guys who would just fucking stick it in anything? So anyway, Janae's like, oh, you're hungry, I can make you eggs, right? So she went away to make him eggs. That was all fine and well. So later, Serena took him for a chat, and when she was sitting chatting with him, oh my God, the flirting was it was too much, right? And I thought, I wish they had a show like Love Island, where the voiceover person was like David Attenborough, but they were like a body language and relationship expert. It's so painful to watch sometimes. And I know that people flirt like this in real life, and I know I've probably done it. Like, even the thought of some of the things that you say when you're flirting with somebody, it gives you that absolute heave, right? But for some reason, when you're watching the American one, it's even worse than the UK. It's too much, right? So she was giving it all she's got. And then Janae had made him eggs, right? So I didn't see any harm in this. She told him she was going to make him eggs, and she decided to bring them up the stairs. And Serena was fucking raging. And she's like, oh, turn your ass round, girl. You know we're up here. I didn't interrupt your conversation. And you can kind of see where she's coming from, right? Because she just gave her the time to sit and talk to him. However, Janae had made him eggs, and she made him 3 different types of eggs, right? It's not as if she just fucking shoved on a fried egg and put it on a plate. And she was bringing it up to him so as that it wouldn't get cold and he could eat it. And then Serena was pure trying to make him feel bad, and she's like, oh, just throw that shit over the balcony, like, don't even eat it. And I was like, for fuck's sake, get a grip, right? She told him she was going to make him food. Like, what's the problem? And then literally she pure went on about it, and she went round the whole house, and she's like, oh, she brought him up eggs, she knew what she was doing. She told him that she was going to cook. I was like, oh my God, she needs to get a fucking grip of herself. So Leah and Connor were getting to know each other on the dock, and when they were saying, oh, all the girls were pulling Miguel for a chat, and she says, oh, I didn't pull him. And Jenna was like, oh, that's because you were really busy. And she went nuts, right? And she's like, oh, you already knew the situation. I don't know why you're getting worked up. And I thought, has she always spoke through her nose like that? I don't know if she's got like a sinus problem or something, but I was like quite disturbed. Literally, she was just fully talking through her nose, and I thought, have I just not noticed this before? Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. So her and Connor like falling in love, right? Jana's totally fucking raging. So at this point, Miguel had been talking to most of the girls, and he was being overly flirtatious with all of them, and they got a text saying that the boys were going to be picking the girls, and whoever didn't get picked would be going home. So I didn't really know who he was going to pick, to be honest, right? But then he ended up picking Liv, and she was totally shocked. I was shocked as well, because we hadn't really seen him talking to her that much. So all the girls got picked, and it came down to Serena and Hannah, and I think that Serena is an absolute fucking head fuck. Not only was she going mental about the eggs, and it was just way over the top, but she had originally been paired up with a guy, and she was like, he's too into me, I feel as if he's saying all these nice things because he feels like he has to say them and it feels fake. So she friend-zoned him, and then he left her alone, and then she's like, oh, I really like the pace we're going at now, I really like the way he's treating me. He hadn't even fucking spoke to her, basically, since she'd friend-zoned him. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I like him and all that. So then when they got the text, she went up to him and she says, oh, I really like where we are. I think that we could have a romantic connection. And I thought, she's just fucking playing mind games with him so that she doesn't have to go home. So in the end, he picked Serena and Hannah went home. So Serena's plan obviously went accordingly. But the last 2 episodes were actually quite good. I really like the fact that the American one is so dramatic compared to the UK version. Let me know in the comments if you've been watching this season and what you think it. If you've watched the full thing, don't give me any spoilers, please, because I just want to watch it as it's on. See you next time. Bye!